you interviewed Tate recently. I think you were the last interview of Tate before he went to jail. Okay, so I want to get the panel's basically take on A, what are your thoughts on Tate? Do you think these charges are trumped up? Do you think he's actually going to be seeing real legitimate jail time here? And what will the final outcome be? So, you want to go first? Ladies
well,
first.
I don't know all the facts of the case, I'd like to say. So from what I understand, could you explain more about like
well, let's let the man who just did a breakdown.
I don't know.
So Andrew Tate is being accused of essentially he gets women into this like mind state where they're very much into him, and then I think his goal is to get that woman to a dinner with another woman that works for him. He gets that woman to convince the other woman that is like in love with him to like start camming and doing sex work, and I think he flies him out to, I think they were doing their business in Romania. He basically has like this like cam girl sweatshop set up in their basement where he's got all these women working, and then he just kind of like keeps them strung along that way, like doing camming shit, defrauding them on their taxes and stealing money from them, and then doing that indefinitely. And then there's also some of the charges, I think, accused of threats of physical and emotional abuse, I think, as well. And then there was that one threat of, or there was the rape thing too. But I don't know if that was accused to Andrew or if it just said that was about the 4 people. So it might not have been Andrew himself that was accused of that.
But the whole thing is like, he said all of this on camera loudly and proudly, meaning, here is my business model. As case example, you're a pretty girl. You want to make some money. You're doing OnlyFans. You're doing all types of video chatting things anyway. Okay? Come with me, and you can make $10,000 a month.
No, there's one flaw. He's going for new girls.
Yeah,
not
they
girls
weren't girls in the industry.
Okay, all right. So he's recruiting. You have existing salespeople, and you have new salespeople. That's how businesses work. I'm just boiling it down to the basic.
Can I
Hear me out. Hear me out. Before everyone jumps in, you can make $10,000 a month in my business model, but I keep half. Or you can attempt to do it yourself, and you can make $2,000 a month, and you can do it, and you keep 100%. Here are your options. And that's the way that he's broken it down on camera multiple times. So he says, I've seen it consistently. Go out and try to do it on your own. You make less money. Come to me, you'll make more, but I'm also going to make some money. And that's how he made his fucking money, and that's his business model.
The video
Whether he was doing tax evasion, money laundering, coercion, that's another story. But he's been very open of that's what the business model was.
The business model, he wasn't selling it. Or sorry, you want to talk about it?
No, I just had a question about, so were the girls free to leave the whole time?
That's, I think, a contentious point. I think there were logs leaked where there was talk of passport holding, and that's where the threat of physical and emotional violence come in. But I would have to see what the actual accusations were.
And the accusations, what did they accuse him of? You said
human
rape,
trafficking.
rape. It was emotional. You said something.
So there were 4 people that I don't know if there's been a new press release, but the Romanian document announced 4 people. Andrew Tate being one of them. Of those 4 people, one
Tristan
of them
Tate,
was accused of rape. There was to create a criminal organization, there was sex trafficking, and then there was the money laundering. But I don't think it said specifically who was charged with what. That's my memory of it.
Here's what I'll say. And this is totally my opinion. Totally my opinion. Let's say Andrew Tate had 100 girls working for him, let's just say. And 99 of them were free to leave, all good, do whatever you want, no issues whatsoever. And then there was this one girl who had fucking issues. She threw up in the house and wouldn't clean it up. I think Sneeko brought up this example.
Yeah, that's
right?
what Andrew Tate's friend Sneeko said.
Whatever.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I'm giving. I wasn't there. I'm not here to clean up the vomit.
No, that's fine.
I'm just saying. I can see how this slippery slope happens. There's this one girl. 99 of the other girls are fine. They're making their money. Whatever. Again, this is my opinion. This one girl does something wrong, throws up, disrespects, talks shit, whatever it was. And now there's an issue with this one girl. And they're going to take this issue with this one girl that he held her passport or he wronged her or he physically harassed her because this one girl was acting up. So now you want to take this one case and paint this broad brush around this dude that he's just raping and pillaging women galore. And that to me is, I think, unfair.
Okay,
because I don't think that's what he was doing.
First of all,
again, I said that is my opinion.
Sure. If he's doing what he said he did in his videos, he is a sex trafficker. Full stop.
Like what?
He says that he gets girls to fall in love with him. He says that he brings them to a dinner with another girl that's working for him with the express intent of that girl to convince this girl.
Wait, but did she freely choose to do it?
It-
I just don't. I'm sorry. If I'm thinking, okay, I'm putting myself in these girls' shoes. I get a boyfriend, right? And the boyfriend convinces me to do cam work. That was my decision.
That's great
was
that you
my
think that.
decision.
That's cool.
Personal decisions,
I
personal
just feel like I'm
responsibility.
so
That's great
tired.
that you think that.
Can you not cut me
It's
off?
sex
Can you
tra-
not cut me off? Like, I'm just tired of like we're gonna blame the men for your poor decision. You picked to do it.
That's great that you feel that way, but it's still sex trafficking. Your personal feelings don't matter. That's
By
still
the way,
sex
you're a
trafficking.
European girl living in the former
Okay.
USSR. You have no other job options, and you're hot and you're young.
Sure, or
Boom.
oftentimes-
Time to
There's
start
a
doing
lot of
sex
They
information
weren't
trafficking.
that
complaining
hasn't-
about the money. They weren't complaining about the money.
But he was actively stealing from them.
Yeah, he admits
It's not
that.
actively-
He does admit
He
that.
literally said,
Yeah.
when you're filling out these dumb women's tax forms, you can lie to them about the tax forms and take 40% off the top.
That
he
is
literally
where
said
I
that.
think you were right.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
where I think you were
But
right.
even though-
Hear me out.
I was
That
going
is
off-
where I think they will get him.
Yeah.
No,
Because
even wait, hold on, no. Even anything you discovered at that point, even if they willingly chose all the time, it's still sex trafficking. If I fly to another country,
Yeah.
bring you to a country where you don't speak the language, lock you in a basement, and then tell you like, hey, stream it, I'll cut you.
not a
That's
lawyer.
sex trafficking.
But
It-
for me, that's definition-wise, maybe you're right.
Okay,
maybe you're
okay.
wrong. I don't know.
That's
That
great.
to me is not sex trafficking.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because I agree with Pearl. These women knew what they were doing. They knew what they were signing up for. They were free to leave. He wasn't holding their passports. But if he was skimming money off the top with taxes,
Yeah.
that's what they'll
Sure.
get.
So
you.
these are the two stages, and I agree that that's what you're going to say because I know that's what all the Tate fans are going to say. First, they're going to say he didn't do it, and then when they said he did do it, and it's obviously clearly sex trafficking, then it's going to be, oh, okay, well, sure, he's sex trafficking, but it's okay. That's not even like real sex trafficking, or who cares about sex trafficking? They chose to go to another country where they didn't speak the language. He was stealing money from them, and they were locked in for the first
what
time ever
about
doing
that?
sex
So
work.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the Romanian legal system. I don't know the definition of that. Okay, I'm not going to pretend
You don't
I
have
do.
I'm
sorry.
major
it
Sex
may-
trafficking,
Romanian
there's a
law.
pretty
Okay, I
international. It's an
don't-
international thing, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't study sex trafficking.
Okay.
It's not my area of expertise. But my question is, what is incorrect about that statement? Do you not think the women should take accountability for the choices that they made?
They should, but that's besides the point.
You can take accountability. I'm
Like-
not asking
like-
about what the punishment should be for the women. They've probably been punished enough. I imagine if they worked and had money stolen from them.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about was what Andrew Tate did, which is sex trafficking, right? There are probably women that make bad decisions.
Allegedly.
But I'm saying, why is
Allegedly.
That's what
it-
he's charged with. That's
why
what he's
is
charged with.
Allegedly.
Why
Let's
is
just
it,
be
why
clear
is it
about
wrong
that.
if they
It's not
freely chose to do
proven.
it?
Why is it wrong if I get somebody in a relationship with me and then I'm able to flip that into them working as a prostitute for me?
You freely chose to do it. I just think there's nobody. I couldn't date a single guy that could make me want to do that.
That's great for
I'm
you,
so-
but
I'm
we're not,
sorry.
this isn't about you.
But
This story isn't about
but
you,
I'm-
though.
Destiny,
I'm
I
saying-
love how passionate you are and the words you use, but we have to be careful. These aren't prostitutes. They're hear me out.
Sex workers.
They're
Sorry.
on camera doing cam girl shit. At any point they can turn off their camera. At any point they can say, "I don't feel like it today." But they're doing it to make money. This is a job so they can make money.
OnlyFans.
Now, OnlyFans, hello.
Except they're in another country where they don't speak the language.
What do you
where
mean
they're
they
in
don't
it.
speak the language?
This
They're
is
in
like saying
Europe.
anybody at any time could go and buy and sell the right options, the right puts or calls to be a billionaire. That's true. But the hard part is making the picks, right? If you're flown to a whole other fucking country, and you've got some dude that you think is your fucking boyfriend that's in love with you, and now you're doing sex work for the first time in your fucking life. You don't speak the language around here. The guy's stealing money from you. Who knows if you even know how to fucking
I'm
book a
sorry,
ticket
unless
out.
these girls are beyond naive. If they
Sure,
see
and that's
99 other
fine.
girls
Yeah.
there,
Okay, cool.
they don't think this is my boyfriend and he loves me.
That's great, and
he's
that's
like,
fine.
now I'm a part of a harem.
There's literally a name for the method.
Hold
That's why
on.
it's called the lover boy method. This is exactly
Yes.
what they do. But if you don't care about sex trafficking, that's fine. And a lot of people
No,
apparently
no, no,
not.
no,
But
that-
now they don't care
Obviously,
about sex trafficking, which is cool.
I'm not
but
saying I
like-
don't care about sex trafficking. Would you say that there's the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking, and then there's the Tate thing, and they're not even fucking close?
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
What?
Go,
Why?
state your case.
I don't. What's the definition of sex traffic? I don't. I just
Here's
would think
Natalia.
because here's.
I got you.
I would
There's
just.
three
This
factors.
is just
I
wait,
agree,
wait, wait.
Pearl.
I would
Well,
just. I would just think that it was that you aren't free to go. That's what I thought. I
Right.
thought it's only sex trafficking if they're underage or they can't leave. That's what
Okay.
I thought.
No. You said there's three things?
I believe there is. I watched some legal breakdown. There's got to be physical pressure, physical violence, coercion, and one more.
It's force, fraud, and coercion.
Yeah, fraud
Yes.
and coercion. Yeah, yeah.
So
the
fraud is
the
gonna be
fraud
stealing
is
the
the taking the
taxes. Mm-hmm.
money. The coercion we don't really know about because we don't know what the
Because
evidence
that's
the
all
police
he.
has.
That's all he says. She said. Right now.
Well,
Right now.
but
right
we don't
now.
know what evidence the police has. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think the only reasonable position is to be agnostic until you see what develops of the case.
Yeah.
Here's I think the biggest point here. Tate has become famous for talking that shit on social media, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. And what will make you famous will also
fuck you in the ass.
will fucking put your ass in jail. And that's the problem that he's having right now. I do this is how I make my money. I'm a badass. It's like, yo, this guy's sick. Let me follow this guy. You're going to jail for the exact same reason. That's the problem that he's going to have.
That's not what he's going to jail for.
Yeah, what are you talking?
This is such bullshit.
He said
he's going to jail because he's in an Eastern European country that wants to fucking be taken seriously on the world stage, and he's bragging about sex trafficking in the fucking country. That's why he got charged. He's going to jail.
Literally my point.
Exactly
But that's not. But Andrew Tate isn't known for telling young men how to sex traffic. He's known for challenging the matrix and challenging the system.
No,
but now people are trying to.
That's not true.
He's
He
been
has a whole
talking
course
about
about that.
He might have been talking about it, but that's not why he gained popularity, and that's not why people are saying he's being targeted by Romania or the Western world. People are saying, oh, they're targeting him because he's telling young men how to break free of the matrix and be
he's
independent.
making is the fact that he's bragged about it so much
You've
publicly
said
is
it
what's
so
going
many
to bug
times.
him, and that it's what's going to.
If you want to know what I think Tate stands for, what I actually think he stands for, it's not. Okay, he talks about the matrix and the system, and he has very loudly talked about how he makes his money and the cam girls, and he talks about whether he's toxic masculinity, what he's labeled as. What I actually think Tate stands for is just male self-improvement, getting in the gym, going to being a badass, making money, and if you make the money, you get the women, you get the Bugattis. But he's talking about becoming a better version of yourself. But nobody wants to talk about that. They want to talk about being a sex trafficker. They want to talk about him doing all the fucking ridiculous things out there. That, to me, is his message. But it gets masked by all this other nonsense. So here's my next question to you. Let's say Tate is innocent. Let's just say Tate is innocent. Go with me here. Who do you think is pulling the strings, trying to get him fucking set up and put in jail? Go with me here. Who do you think is? Do you think it's corporations? Do you think it's government?
Greta, for sure.
You think it's Greta Thunberg? You think it's the World Economic Forum? You think it's the U.S. government? You think it's like? Let's just say Tate's innocent, and he hasn't done any of this. Innocent till proven guilty, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you think is saying this fucking Tate guy? We got to bring this motherfucker down.
I don't think there
Who's
needs to
doing
be.
it?
I don't think there needs to be a big conspiracy. I think it can be as simple as either a prosecutor doesn't like him and makes the wrong decision. Sometimes police mess up, or it could be the U.S. Embassy put a little pressure on Romania. That could have also happened. But I don't think there's this big international conspiracy.
So you
going
don't
on.
think it goes to some top
No,
World
I don't.
Economic Forum
No,
matrix
I don't believe in
situation?
Charles Schwab.
Chuck Schwab.
I've heard that name so much.
World Economic Forum.
No,
You'll
Charles Schwab.
you'll own nothing and be happy.
I'm not that deep into the red pill yet. There's like layers, so I haven't hit the like they call it the deep state,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that the Pizzagate?
Yes.
I don't know.
All right. Well, you're familiar with this world. Go crazy with me. Go conspiracy theory.
If I was going full
Who's
conspiracy,
at the top saying
the
we
top
have
would
to
be
bring this
some
man
Romanian
down?
official who's like, our country is trying to be taken more seriously. Okay, Eastern European countries are like, I think, vying for validity from the West, and now we've got a guy that's in our country, flagrantly talking about and bragging about fucking sex trafficking. So we're gonna fucking take this guy down. If I was to entertain a conspiracy, that would be my guess of where it would come.
I would say this is that he talks about corruption, right? And he goes, every country's corrupt. Every country's corrupt. Now, do you want to be in a country like the West? Because Tate talks very badly about United States, the West, UK, London, EU. Doesn't speak highly above it. That's why he likes more Eastern Europe, Dubai. He's converted to Islam. He talks about the fact that in Romania, he's like, I like the fact that I could just go give a bag of cash and get out of the corruption and just pay it off.
Well, it hasn't worked this time.
That's exactly.
The bag's not
and
big
that's
enough.
why I think that he talks about the sex trafficking. I think that there's some prosecutor in Romania, like if you want to go there, there's some prosecutor in Romania or some judge or some, legal aristocrat, whoever, that's like, oh, right? Okay, bro. Well, test me. You're in my country. Let's see if we're that corrupt. And I think there's maybe somebody with a bone to pick. But so maybe it's not the Charles Schwabs of the world and the Greta Thunbergs of the world and the Matrix. Maybe it's just some dude in Romania.
The reality, too, is that, like, when you talk about corruption, there's going to be different types of corruption, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if I could go to a place like Romania and get, like, a speeding ticket and pay off the cop. Maybe more than I could in the United States. But, like, double
Yes.
homicide, that's probably a different
Yeah.
thing. So the idea that, like,
There's
all
levels to
corruption
this.
is the same and
I
you can
think
pay off
that's-
anybody for anything, probably not true.
I think
I've
that's a
heard
very
that
good example.
If you're
Yes,
in
you're right.
Romania and you are doing anything involved with casinos, you're, greasing wheels or greasing gears with, like,
Yeah.
pretty bad people. Like, that's just, like, a given.
You're affiliated
If
with
the-
bad people, yes.
Absolutely. That has to be the case.
Yes.
But I don't think that means you can get away with, like, blatantly sex trafficking or, like, raping or killing or, like, doing crazy shit
Especially
like
if you're not a high-profile figure. If
Sure.
you are a high-profile figure.
Huh. All right. So give me your prediction. What's going to happen to Tate in 30 days? Prediction.
Me first?
Yeah.
I like to wait until the facts of the case are out. It could go either way. It could be that
How
a couple
diplomatic
women,
of you.
Well, because it could be that a couple women gave testimony. They
Yeah.
can't validate it anywhere else. They've got maybe a couple whatever text messages and that's it. And then nothing comes of it. It could be that he didn't do anything actually that wrong. Maybe they
Yeah.
did all freely choose to go there. They thought they could make some money. They weren't happy with the money they made, and now they came back and they're trying to burn him. It could be that he actually did engage in a whole bunch of fucked up shit, and we're going to see way more released from the Romanian authorities. But it could be anything.
How about
so-
this? I'm going to re-ask the question because
Oh,
forget
okay.
about predictions. Who knows what's going to happen? Because it's very easy to say, let's just wait for the case comes out. How about this? Let's just keep it simple. Do you think that Tate, who has taken the internet by storm over the last 6-12 months, do you think he's a net negative or a net positive for society and specifically young men? What do you think, Alex?
I would say net positive overall.
Net positive.
Yeah.
Why?
There's some things he says that are a little cringe that I disagree with, but overall about like making men more masculine, taking accountability, working out, getting your finances in order, those are all good messages.
Fully agree. How about you, Pearl? You've interviewed him. You sat with him. You're the last one of us to actually see him in the flesh. Net negative or net positive for society?
I would say net positive. I think most of his message is about self-improvement.
I agree.
So, yeah, I would say net
Yeah.
positive.
Like, but it's easy to call him a chauvinist and a misogynist, but that's a negative thing these days. Is telling men to improve. How about you? Back to you. Do you think he's a net
What do you think?
negative or net
I'd
positive?
say net. Do we need another guide here saying go to the gym, get your finances in order, like be a man? I don't know how much like uniqueness he's offering there that's valid.
You have to admit that he's very unique, bro.
Is he really? I mean, like he is in like the hyper consumerist, like look at all my fucking cars sense. But
I think
like
that's.
I don't know.
I think that's bullshit. I think if he was just,
You
Okay,
can't
what are
argue.
some-
I think if he was Ubering everywhere,
he's
the message would be
impacted
just
more
as
people
powerful.
probably in 6 months than most people
Yes.
have in their entire
Yeah,
career.
think
he,
you're
he
doing
has
it-
reached
I-
people
I-
that were
Yeah.
never involved in
What? You said he's
self-improvement.
unique. Give me some unique messages from Tate.
Well, no.
It doesn't have to be a unique message. It's about the impact.
Yeah.
And you can't. I
You can't
interview
deny the
people on the
impact. Fully
street
agree.
all the time, like young kids, and they're like the biggest Tate fans. Like I have never seen anyone with that much of a reach. Like,
yeah, but I mean,
it's
I don't know. If my fucking 11-year-old son was a huge Tate fan, that would very fucking scare me. That
All
would
right,
be
well then
really
let me flip it
scary
on
to me.
you.
Yeah.
Who do you want your 11-year-old son to admire, and you can't say a video gamer?
I can't say a video game.
Can't say it. Who do you want your 11-year? This goes back to the young destiny of who he was going to look up to. If it's not someone like Tate, who do you want your 11-year-old son looking up to these days?
Damn. I would say that probably it would be relevant to whatever career he wanted to go into.
He's
So if he
11 years
wanted
old.
to-
Who gives a shit about
Well,
career?
yeah. So right
Because
now
who
he
do you-
looks up to like fucking
being-
movie characters. He likes Spider-Man
Okay.
and shit like that. So I think
Okay.
like Marvel superheroes are probably okay for a kid to
All
look
right,
up to.
that's
Yeah.
fair.
Sure.
So
they're not real,
a lot of young kids would say that he's the closest thing to that in real life.
A super-
Kickboxer, badass, smart, good with women, driving Bugattis, living in mansions, smoking cigars, will fuck you up and fuck your girl. Kind of a badass.
Yeah, but like 5 out of 9 of those things, like I don't want my kid fantasizing about Bugattis, mansions, fucking people that fucking girls. Or
Yeah, Bugatti is just a means to an end. It means you've made money, and so you have a Bugatti. Listen, I have enough money to buy a nice supercar. I'd rather just keep my money in the bank because I'd like Ubering everywhere. It's just a sign of wealth. It's not like
I don't
like
believe
to me
that.
it's a little
No.
excessive to have. I've got 19 supercars. It's like you only really need one.
You can't when you
Okay.
make that the focal point so often. I
I
don't think you can
agree.
retreat behind the like. Oh no, well I'm just saying this will happen as a result of your wealth.
I
This
agree.
is like the goal for a lot of
I
people.
agree, but I think a lot of it is that's his caricature, right? It wouldn't be surprised
Okay,
me
Well, and it gives
if
young
he did.
men something to strive for. I
Yeah,
don't think
strive for
it's, why
Bugattis?
is it wrong? Okay, I grew up in the most. Like the comments will always say like these are the cheapest rich people I've ever seen. Like y'all rich, but you look broke. And
Us?
the comment section, my family. Like so I'm
Us?
I grew up
Shit.
around frugal rich people. Like I
Yes.
understand the concept, but it's just like why is it bad for men to want to strive to have 20 supercars?
Because because putting you in a mindset where you think that material things are going to improve your life, like spiritually, or improve your life in like a holistic, like psychological sense, it's a path that I've watched so many people go down before. You spent the first half of this
It's
program.
not
shouldn't
to
you?
say that's the only thing, but
No, it is.
can't you
Yeah.
acknowledge that there is some benefit in striving to make a lot of money?
No, never.
Yes.
I
No,
don't
no,
think
no,
if
no,
you're
no.
selling to a
Really?
young man ever, it would never be like, if you do this, you can have a supercar. That would never be part of your talking points.
I act like you're
I
talking to
just feel like
someone
this
that
is
had
like nitpicking.
hold
Like
on.
this is nitpicking
Yes,
overnight.
yes.
This is like half of the fucking videos that circulate with him on the internet.
He
Is
has
like,
too much. He
look
has
at
too
my.
much stuff that he talks
For some
about.
reason, I'm like obsessed with this straw man argument thing because you've used it a few times.
This is literally
Hear
what he
me
talks
out,
about.
bro.
I'm hearing you.
You
Go.
only can talk at one time.
Okay.
you're talking to somebody that doesn't have a car
Okay.
because he doesn't want to fucking drive, and I like being Ubered around. But I could buy a Maserati for 100 grand, no problem. But I prefer not to.
Okay.
So for me to defend Tate, just understand the fact that I'm not a car guy. The message is not about the Bugatti. The Bugatti is the reward after doing everything he talks about in his message. Becoming better, faster, stronger, cooler, wealthier, sexier, healthier, all that. Then you can get the Bugatti. But don't get lost in the sauce. That is the message. And once you make the money and get the fame and get the success, if you want to go buy a fucking what color is your Bugatti, go for it. Or buy 19. But to say, oh, Tate, he's got a bad message because of the Bugatti, that's the carrot at the end, like to like motivate you. But that's not the reason that you're in the gym every day. That's not the reason that you're working your ass off. That's not the reason that you're trying to improve. It's like, that's why I was saying it's like a straw man argument that it's all about material. It's not. That's like the payoff at the end. But like the essence of what he's doing is male self-improvement. And I think you would agree with that, no?
That's the biggest cope I've ever heard in my life.
Cope?
Biggest
Yeah.
cope.
That
What
was
does that
so
mean?
much cope.
Cope of what?
Where are the videos showing that, like, if you live like a fulfilling life, this is what awaits you at the end? Maybe it's a happy marriage. Maybe it's like good friendships. Like maybe it's like a family that you love and care for. Maybe it's like participation in your community.
Yeah, but if you're talking to an 18-year-old kid,
don't
what's your
care about
family?
that.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about? They want to
That's
fucking
fine.
get laid and
That's
get
okay.
paid.
Sure, that's
it.
fine.
You sound
But if
like a
get laid-
girl.
if get laid
He
and get
sounds like a
paid-
girl?
That's like what girls say.
If-
Are you calling Destiny
No,
a girl?
these are the
Yes, no.
Christian conservative values that you guys hide behind when you want clicks, but none of you actually give a fuck about. Okay, this is what they actually talk about.
Christian,
If you've ever been
when
in a
have you
church your
ever heard
entire
me talk
life,
about
okay,
Jesus? I
when I
don't
say
even
you
talk-
guys, I mean red pill in general. We're all
What
doing
are
this
you-
Christian stuff.
I'm
okay?
not a red pill
What are
guy.
you
I
talking
interview a
about?
lot of red pill.
You're talking about fulfillment, self-improvement, all these things, okay?
I've
If
never
your
even
eyes,
talked about religion.
if you're trying to sell somebody a car at 18, and that's where the focal point is, 19, 20, 21, do you think that magically at 25 they're gonna be like, oh shit, I've had my eyes on the car the whole time, but like, man, I've got like a lot more fulfillment in my life now. Like,
Yeah,
that's not
dude.
gonna happen.
I used to want to fuck a million girls, now I have a girlfriend. Like, yeah, of course. Your attitudes change as you get older. He's preaching traditional masculinity, which is attractive to a lot of men. It's like the James Bond type of fantasy. It's like, yeah, good with girls, good at fighting, have a nice car. But yeah, you get at some point where you experience that and it gets old, and maybe you do settle down, or maybe you don't.
I've just
But what
I
you're
had it in
saying
my
is not gonna
family. I've
sound
seen
sexy
it
to
personally. There
anyone.
are so many people that fall down the consumerist hole. I've seen it happen time and time.
Yeah,
in
that
my
would be
own
like my
family.
one criticism of
But
Andrew
if you,
Tate too.
well, but that is like his major fucking
I don't
selling
think
point, and that's
so.
what Adam is defending. Yeah, it's like look at the cars, like the car's the prize.
No,
but
I
eventually,
don't think-
you'll get the car as a
But
result of
Destiny,
doing all these
that's
other
why
things.
I said that I'm not a car guy, so I can't be defending
Yeah,
getting
because
a
you're
car.
trying to put yourself on
Because-
trial to defend his person. But I'm not
No,
attacking you.
but what I'm saying is, it's easy. This is what I was saying with the straw man. It's easy to take his message and be like, he's just all about materialism and Bugattis, when that's not the message. It's work harder, get better, and once you do all that and increase your status, then you can get the car. So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another, or if you want to watch the entire Soscast, click right here.